If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.
At Blinds.com, it's not just about window treatments. It's about you, your style, your space, your way. Whether you DIY or want the pros to handle it all, you'll have the confidence of knowing it's done right. From free expert design help to our 100% satisfaction guarantee, everything we do is made to fit your life and your windows. Because at Blinds.com, the only thing we treat better than windows is you. Black Friday deals are going on all month long. Shop up to 45% off with minimum purchase plus a free professional measure right now at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions apply.
And we're joined now by a friend of the show. Everybody knows Ellen very, very well by this point here on Another Side of Midnight. It's Ellen Karis. You go to ellenkaris.com and find her all over social media at Greek Chick Comic. Good morning, Ellen. Welcome back to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I love being on.
Oh, no, it's the best. It's the best. And friends having fun, making fun of people. That's what it's all about. And speaking of making fun of people, okay, so Gavin Newsom, I can't take him seriously. I am stunned that some people I know who live in California who are very smart and very articulate somehow I think he fools them. And I just don't understand. You and I have never really talked about Gavin Newsom before. What do you think about him? And you and I actually both know his ex, Kimberly, from time that we used to spend over at Fox News.
Well, there's a bunch of things. First of all, he is an actor, right? He's an actor playing a governor. He is so good at just looking in the camera and saying whatever it is that he needs to say. And, if you dig deep with him, he's been in San Francisco politics and California politics for a long time. He was mayor. He got voted in twice.
Right.
He was lieutenant governor for 2 consecutive terms, and now governor, and this will be obviously his last term.
Right.
So he's been in that perch for a really, really long time. And I completely agree with you, because I know not the same people, but different people that think that he's great and he's doing this great job. And it's just like, what about the fact that your state is broke and that your state is run by homeless and immigrants, and good thing California is big and huge, where there's so much room to spread out. And what is it about the fact that you've got like the highest income taxes in the nation? What is it about the fact that there were fires and he and others obviously dropped the ball? It really is amazing. I don't know if it's the looks perspective.
I think so. I think people are taken by typecasting. I think central casting looks have a lot to do with it, Well,
that was a bill. I think I never found him attractive, but I think that was a thing with Bill Clinton too. People thought he was like so handsome. I'm like, what am I missing? Who am I looking at? But and by the way, I was looking at some photos of Gavin Newsom in 30 years ago. Now I realize we all look different, but we look different, but we look the same. I've known you for a long time.
Right.
We're just like, we still look sort of.
Frankly, you and I both look quite the same. I gotta say,
and pretty good.
Yeah, black don't crack applies to even you and me. It even applies to a Greek and a Mick like me. Go ahead.
But he looks very different. I mean, he's right in there with the fillers and the he's definitely been nipped and tucked a bunch of times, but he's got the gift of gab, very much so. I mean, he's seamless. The other thing I did a little research on too, again going back to that whole thing in San Francisco, like his family was very close with the Gettys.
Really?
Oil, and they gave him and his partners money when he was very young, and him and his partners invested in wineries, and like him and the Pelosi's, they all, and then of course later on Kamala Harris was in that mix, and it's like a little San Francisco mafia.
Yes. Oh, wow. I didn't know about that Getty money. That's trippy. And by the way, you mentioned San Francisco. He came into San Francisco as mayor with, I'm pretty sure this is pretty spot on. Came into San Francisco as mayor with a budget, whatchamacallit, what the hell is it when you have more than you need? What the hell? Surplus! Thank you! Jesus! Ellen and I am a mess. With a surplus, and he left with a deficit, got into the governor's office with a surplus, and is leaving in a massive deficit. This guy just, in the classic sense of liberalism, tears through other people's money.
Yeah. And now he's trying to screw around with the voting and the districting,
yep.
and all that kind of stuff. So that's the agenda.
Yeah.
And to get to something super current, with immigration and homelessness also, which somewhat goes hand in hand, because sometimes some of these people come and they have no place to live.
Sure, of course.
And he just, he's okay with it.
Yep.
San Francisco is a beautiful, beautiful city, and it's been turned into tent city and people shooting themselves up.
And a toilet. It's an outdoor toilet. Yeah.
And that's something to be proud of.
Yeah.
He should be embarrassed.
Yeah.
But to get to Kimberly Guilfoyle, you and I know her from our days when we did Strategy Room on Fox. I have to tell you, she was very nice to me.
Yes.
I've been in her company a couple times. She remembered me the second time I had seen her. I wasn't out at Fox. She's a smart lady.
Yeah.
They were very, very young. But you know what it reminds me of, too? She'll always be attached to Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, I call it the Jennifer Aniston syndrome as well. Jennifer Aniston will always be attached to Brad Pitt.
Yes.
They haven't been married in 25 years. Brad Pitt went on to marry somebody else. Kimberly Guilfoyle went on, married somebody else, had a child. She didn't even have a child with Gavin Newsom, right? I mean, just you have that connection. But that'll always be in the Wikipedia. It'll always be, part of her identity.
Sure.
So, listen, she was a young prosecutor. He was I think he was mayor at the time.
Yes.
For mayor. They were this powerful couple, but, I mean, they didn't really last that long, and then she hightailed it out of there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Then she moved on and made that massive career for herself. Speaking of the West Coast, you and I have kicked around, just as everybody else, especially on this radio station. We're talking to Ellen Karis, by the way, everybody, comedian, actress, writer, Ellen Karis. Go to, at Greek Chick Comic and ellenkaris.com. The mayor of Seattle, who is sort of a I wouldn't say a mini Mom Donnie because she's actually older than him. But she was, I believe her, election was just certified, and she's a 43-year-old, model of him. I'm just with the West Coast in mind and thinking about how, we always talk about the liberal coasts and we talk about, these trends, and, she sort of, this Seattle mayor just sort of slipped through the cracks. I wasn't really paying attention to her. All of a sudden she's mayor.
Well, the New York City mayoral race, I think, dominated the news.
Clearly.
And, out of all the races. And I actually heard her speak today on WABC, on Catherine Cosby, and she was, I'm sorry, it was both Early. And she was going on and on about what she intends to do, and she said ridiculous things like, social housing.
Yes.
And we're going to make it so that everybody has health care and child care. I mean, these people are talking out of their you-know-what. I mean, it's like they have no idea. They have, no authority.
No.
And as far as housing goes, I mean, we do have a bit of a housing crisis here.
Sure.
But let me ask you a question, TJ.
Okay.
Because we don't really know the number also of the immigrants that have come in. I mean, don't you think that that's perhaps maybe a little bit of the supply problem?
Sure.
In addition to the fact that in 2008, some of the banks and hedge funds came in and bought real estate, not individual houses,
right.
but properties, apartment buildings, complexes, and whatnot. I know
sure.
that that's a factor as well.
Right.
But just saying these things. I'm going to tell you something. This is my prediction. Certainly, I can speak for New York City because I've lived here my entire life.
Right.
He's going to implode. The party is almost over. He's going to implode. He's not going to be able to do any of these things.
Right.
The Seattle mayor also, all these things that they're promising. She's promising the same things he's promising. They can't do it. They can't sustain it. And I want to say that they're financially illiterate.
Yeah.
But I think it's more about this is what they truly believe. Because none of the numbers work. It's like this ideology. It's to make us all the same.
Exactly. And that's why, it's funny. When you said that the different ideals that she was talking about in some of these aspirational, part of me almost reflexively was going to say, and sure, that's a noble ideal to want to house everybody. But it's not. I caught myself. There is zero noble element to anything like social housing, and I mean, and just putting everybody on the same level, and having the whole world aim for the middle, and nobody aspiring to greatness. And also, when we have the worst/best example of just how awful government is when it's the landlord. I mean, is there any more death-defying place than a NYCHA housing building in New York City?
Exactly.
So there is nothing noble about talking about putting a roof over everybody's head in permanent social housing. That is not noble. That is evil, actually, making that what people aspire to. Yes.
Government should just stick with what they was intended to do, to protect us.
Yeah.
Highways, roads, police, firemen, ambulances, etc. And obviously protect us from, from anybody coming onshore from offshore.
Yeah, that's it.
And it really has been so bloated. I mean, they are all about government controlling everything.
Yep.
And this whole thing with childcare, I have great empathy for obviously two parents that have to work or single mothers.
Yeah, it's pricey, absolutely.
That's a challenge that I never had to face, but that doesn't mean that I wouldn't help contribute. But where's the where the accountability, and where does it end? I mean, they're talking about. I think she mentioned this about childcare till the 8th grade. It's like, when do we cut this off?
Exactly. Yeah, till kids are 14 for crying out. No, it's stupid. It's daft. They're showing their stupidity, and like you said, I think they're going to implode. I think they're going to hit the hard wall of reality. Because they're also trying to get water from a stone. This is just not what the United States government is even built for. Anyway, listen, Ellen, we got a bolt, but we left a couple of bucks on the table here, so we're going to have to come back and pick them up, hopefully next week. But everybody go to ellenkaris.com, at Greek Chick Comic. She is the Greek goddess of comedy, and I love her dearly. Thanks once again for staying up late and coming on the show. Thank you, Ellen Karis.
My pleasure. Take care.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.